Good evening to all of you all. We wish to see in this video what is coefficient of restitution in collisions. Now collisions can be one dimensional. In a one dimensional collision, the velocities are collinear velocities before and after the collision are collinear with the line joining the two centers. Whereas in a two-dimensional collision or in an oblique collision, the velocity will have a will not be collinear with the line joining the two centers. There will be a component along the line joining the two centers and perpendicular to the line joining the two centers. We shall see oblique collisions a bit later. Now let us focus our attention on one-dimensional collisions. If you take a one-dimensional collision, when a collision occurs, two things happen. First thing is there is a force exerted by one body on the other body. These two forces are equal and opposite by the Newton's third law. So the net force is zero. Now we know that the net force is rate of change of momentum. If the rate of change of momentum dp by dt is 0, since F net is 0, P must be constant. Therefore, the momentum is constant, or we say the momentum is conserved. The initial momentum of the system before the collision will be equal to the momentum of the system after the collision. Now, what is the second thing that happens? The second thing that happens is there is energy transformation. The initial kinetic energy of the bodies gets transformed into heat. Heat is nothing but vibrational energy. When the two bodies collide, the molecules vibrate. So there is a certain amount of heat which is generated, which is lost. It cannot be recovered. Similarly, there may be some sound. Sound is also a form of energy. So energy is lost in the form of sound. That also is not recoverable. There is another third major transformation which takes place, which is the kinetic energy gets converted into elastic potential energy of deformation. When the two bodies collide, their shapes get altered or they get distorted. This distortion is like the distortion of a spring. See, when a spring gets compressed or elongated, it stores elastic potential energy. Similarly, here, when the bodies get deformed, there will be elastic potential energy stored in this deformation. That energy comes from the original kinetic energy of the two bodies. So therefore, since kinetic energy is lost in these three ways, we cannot conserve kinetic energy. The final kinetic energy will be less than the initial kinetic energy. However, if for a moment we ignore the heat laws and the sound laws, and let us say that this deformation which is there is not permanent, but the deformation goes away and the body completely regains its original shape, spherical shape, which we have taken, then we can say that the kinetic energy will be conserved. So, in such a collision where we conserve kinetic energy, that is called as an elastic collision. In an elastic collision, the deformation which is there gets totally removed and all the elastic potential energy gets reconverted into kinetic energy. On the other hand, if the deformation stays as it is, that is not even little bit of it is recovered, then we call that as a plastic collision. In that case, the two bodies will move together with a common velocity. So that is a plastic collision, and elastic collisions are the two extremes. In between, we have what is known as the inelastic collision. In an inelastic collision, kinetic energy is not conserved again, but the loss is not that much. In a plastic collision, the loss of kinetic energy is maximum. In an inelastic collision also kinetic energy is lost, but it is not to that much extent because part of the elastic potential energy is recovered. Now, let us write the momentum conservation for an elastic collision. Let us consider an elastic collision. If we have an elastic collision, we can say first, of course, momentum is conserved in any collision as long as the net force is 0. So I can say m1 u1 plus m2 u2, this is the initial momentum. I am assuming all are moving towards the right, is equal to m1 v1 plus m2 v2. This is the momentum conservation. For kinetic energy conservation, I can say half m1 v1 squared u1 squared, the initial, half m1 u1 squared plus half m2 u2 squared is equal to half m1 v1 squared plus half m2 v2 squared. Now we are going to do a simple manipulation. We are going to get the m1 terms on one side and the m2 terms on the other side. For the first equation, if I did that, I will get m1 into u1 minus v1 is equal to m2 into v2 minus u2. Similarly, if I did for the second equation, I will get half m1 into u1 squared minus v1 squared is equal to half m2 into u2 squared minus v2 squared minus, this will be v2 squared minus u2 squared. Now if I divide the two, several things are going to cancel. If I divide these two, half would cancel, m2 cancels, m1 cancels. If I factorize this, I will get u1 plus v1 is equal to v2 plus u2. Now I can rearrange this. I can write this as v2 minus v1, v2 minus v1 is equal to u1 minus u2. u1 minus u2 is equal to v2 minus v1. So v2 minus v1, we call that as the velocity of separation. And u1 minus u2, we call it as velocity of approach. So, if you write what is v2 minus v1 by u1 minus u2, this turns out to be 1 in the case of elastic collision. Now this ratio, if you take for a plastic collision where the deformation just does not go away, not even a small part of the elastic potential energy gets reconverted into kinetic energy. In that case, the two bodies move together. So V1 will be equal to V2. If V1 is equal to V2, this quantity would be 0. This ratio would be 0. So therefore, we define what is known as V2 minus V1 by U1 minus U2. That is the ratio of the velocity of separation to the velocity of approach as E. E is called as the coefficient of restitution. E is called as the coefficient of restitution. Restitution means restoration. So this coefficient really tells us to what extent the elastic potential energy gets reconverted into kinetic energy. So if E is 1, it is an elastic collision. If E is 0, it is a plastic collision. And if E lies between 1 and 0, it is an inelastic collision. It's an inelastic collision. Now, let us take a case of a two-dimensional collision. I have a smooth horizontal surface on which there is a smooth disk. We have a smooth horizontal surface. There is a smooth disk. This is a smooth disk, and there is a particle. It's an oblique collision, two-dimensional collision. There is a particle which has a velocity v. It is striking it at such an angle such that this is 0.8 r. This is 0.8 r. The radius of the disk is r. Yes, and it has a completely inelastic collision. It has a completely E0, completely inelastic collision, and the disk is smooth. Now, how do we do this problem? First of all, we shall resolve the velocities along two orthogonal components. One orthogonal component will be along the normal direction, that is along the direction in which the normal forces act, and another component will be perpendicular to the normal component, or it is the tangential component. So we shall resolve this velocity into all velocities into two components. Then we shall apply the momentum conservation along the normal component, and we shall also use the formula for coefficient of restitution along the normal component. Along the tangential component, since there is no force, we are saying that the disk is smooth and there is no friction. Friction is the tangential force. So the velocities, the individual velocities will remain as it is. So let us see how we do this problem. If you draw this triangle here, this is 0.8 r. I am drawing this triangle here, and this is r. So if I call this angle as theta, cos theta is 0.8 r by r, or 0.8. If cos theta is 0.8, theta is 37 degrees. So let us see, if you now have this velocity as v and this is 37 degrees, this is 37 degrees, we resolve, this is the direction of the normal is this is the direction of the normal, because the normal will be along the radius of the disk. So this is the normal component. So if we resolve this, this is going to be v cos 37, or V, I'll write this V cos 37, and this would be V sin 37. So these are the two components, the normal component and the tangential component. Now, the normal along the normal component, we can conserve the momentum. Let us say, so this would be u1. u1 is v cos 37. Cos 37 is 0.8, so this is 0.8 v. This v sin 37 is 0.6 v. This will remain unaffected because there is no tangential force. So if you now apply the momentum conservation, let me give you the masses of these two bodies. The masses of these two bodies of this particle is 3m and the mass of this disk is m. So after the collision, let the velocities be v1 and v2. So if I apply momentum conservation along the normal, it will be 3m into 0.8v plus m into 0, because the disk was at rest initially, that is equal to 3m into v1 plus m into v2. Now we are told that it is a completely inelastic collision. Therefore, I can say v2 minus v1, which is E times u1 minus u2, E would be 0, or v2 would be equal to v1. So we substitute that here in this equation. You are going to have 3m into 0.8v will be equal to, if you put v2 as v1, you will get 4v1, or we will get v1 is equal to 0.6v. So v1 is 0.6v. So the disk will move at 0.6v, and because v2 is equals to v1, v1 is 0.6, so v2 is also 0.6. So the disk will move at 0.6v. What happens to the particle? The particle will have a component 0.6v, no doubt, and if this component were not there, this 0.6v, had it not been there, the particle would have stuck to the disk and both would have moved together. But because this component is there, the resultant velocity is something like this. The resultant velocity is something like this. In fact, this is 45 degrees. This is 45 degrees. But if you see, this will not be the vertical. Earlier we had shown this theta as 37 degrees. So if I drew the vertical here, this angle was 37 degrees, and now this particle, which was coming at straight vertically down this way, will now move by 8 degrees after the collision. So they don't stick together. In a two-dimensional collision, they wouldn't stick together even though E is 0, because there is a tangential component of velocity as well. Thank you.